Hello all and welcome to Astro Wheel of Fortune. Today I'm doing a reading on what would be a good thing to focus on for the next 6 months. What's a good thing to put your energy into for the next 6 months? So I've got here 5 piles, pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, pile 4 and pile 5. If you want to pause the video and take a little bit of time to meditate over the cards, that's okay. What I'm going to be doing in this reading as well is that I only shuffle the oracle cards, and I'm actually going to be live shuffling the tarot cards for the specific question to clarify the oracle cards. That's how I wanted to go about this reading. So let's get started. So we're going to get started with pile number 1. Let's see what is a good idea, like what's a good place to put your energy into, what's a good thing to focus on in the next 6 months. So first of all, we've got flower, be honest with yourself. We've also got attachment, revealing radiance. Let's see what else. We've also got emerging into grace. There's a lot of like opening up energy here that I'm already picking up on. It's kind of like the next 6 months would be a good time for you to focus on opening up in some way. Because the attachment card makes me think of like attachment to an old version of you, an attachment to safety of not revealing yourself, revealing who you are, and being honest with yourself makes me think of authenticity as well. There's something about like opening up in this beautiful way to show the authentic you, almost like if a clam or like a shell was opened up and the pearl was within. And this is the energy that would be a good energy for you to channel in the next 6 months as well. So let's have a look. We've got exorcist, freeing yourself and others of destructive impulses. Again, freeing yourself. There's something about opening up and freeing yourself of unauthentic or inauthentic ways of being that don't resonate with you anymore. So the next 6 months would be a really good time for you to focus on, like every day, focusing on how you can be more authentic. How can you emerge more as yourself? How can you be more truly you than what you're maybe used to think that you should be? Again, we have a mask here with this attachment card, and the mask makes me think of like taking off a mask. The flower makes me think of like blossoming. Exorcist makes me think of like you being an exorcist on yourself, where you are trying to kind of like exercise or you're trying to get rid of these past versions of yourself. There's something about you really blossoming, and I think regardless of whether you want to focus on blossoming and becoming more authentic, I think it's something that you're going to be pushed towards either way. There's a very clear message here for pile number 1 of like letting go of the old, shedding old skin, opening up, especially opening up. Maybe some of you have been feeling, and there's nothing wrong with being shy or reserved, but I feel like you've almost... It's good. Sometimes even it's good to be reserved and keeping things to yourself. But I feel like you've gone to a point where you've done it in such a way that it's kind of hindering you more than helping you. Maybe it started out as a survival mechanism, but at this point it's something that maybe is it could be worth putting it to bed. But I just, especially even with this card, there's a flower here as well. So like opening up and like really revealing the true inner you is really, really important in the next 6 months. Freeing yourself and others of destructive impulses. Maybe there's some sort of like coping mechanism, like something is coming through about a coping mechanism that you have developed through your life, and there's no shame in having coping mechanisms. It's something that we all do. It's something that we all have. But I feel like you're being advised on zoning in on this coping mechanism that maybe even helped you and maybe even helped you survive or thrive in the past, and having a second look at it and deciding whether it is worth your time anymore, deciding whether it's something that you need anymore, or is it time to open up from that coping mechanism. For some of you, this could be a coping mechanism, like it could be as literal as like smoking or like taking something in terms of, like for some reason smoking came. So for some of you, maybe like literally quitting smoking is something that you should, because I can't help but think the way she's holding this flower reminds me of the way a person would like hold a cigarette. So if any of you smoke, again, please don't come for me if you don't smoke. It doesn't have to be the smoking. I just feel like for some of you, it could literally be smoking. Like it could be maybe it's a coping mechanism that you've developed at one point. It maybe even helped you, or, calmed you down, or got you through some difficult things in your life, but now it's time to let it go. Now, for others of you, it's something a little bit more nuanced than that. It could be things like being reserved and not showing your true self. It could be things like hiding behind a persona that you created, whether it's around your family or whether it's in the world in general. But the next 6 months are going to be really perfect for you to look at that and really reveal the true extent of who you are and the authenticity that you hold. Okay, let's see in terms of tarot. So I want to clarify each of the oracle cards with tarot here. Okay, so we've got the Two of Pentacles first. We've also got the Death card. Yeah, with the Death card being in reverse, I feel like there is a coping mechanism that is no longer needed or necessary. But it's like anything. When something becomes a constant in your life, it's very hard to let go of it. You have an attachment to a certain way of being. And we've got the Moon card here, clarify. Do you know what? It's really interesting to me because this emerging into grace, I open my soul to grace. Something very moon-like about this card to me. Let me see. Right. I feel like this way of being or this coping mechanism that you've been using, and again, no shame in it. We all have coping mechanisms. This coping mechanism is almost taking your precious time at this point. So for some of you, this could be a coping mechanism that actually requires a lot of time, requires a lot of your energy. Maybe it takes away from you rather than gives you energy. And I feel like with this Ace of Wands being right in the middle of your reading, it's kind of like you could do with getting rid of this coping mechanism so that you can get your energy back. Maybe it's a mechanism that takes away your energy. For example, even if it's just drinking, and again, I drink myself. This is not something that I'm like making people feel guilty about. But maybe like in the next 6 months, if you wanted to cut down on drinking, because, when you drink the next day, you're not exactly in the best form, either you're hungover or you're just tired because it's like dehydrating you. It would be a good time to focus on getting rid of this coping mechanism. This is definitely a coping mechanism that takes away your energy. And the next 6 months could really be almost life-changing for you. Like, I feel like pile one, there's something life-changing about focusing on this coping mechanism and how to eliminate it. And by focusing on it, I feel like it's more so like not focusing on it and focusing on something that's more about you, something that's more authentically you. There's a version of yourself that you've been hiding, and it's not even a version of yourself. This is the true you that you've been hiding from the outside world. And again, like the way she has her mouth closed there, it's kind of like maybe you haven't been really speaking your truth. Maybe you haven't been really expressing who you truly are. And it's time to really reveal that. And again, coping mechanism, it doesn't really, like, it could be that you're literally not showing the world the real you. Maybe you are someone who wants to be a certain way, but you feel like it's safer for you to be a different version of yourself. And by not speaking out, by not showing the authenticity, you're kind of like hindering yourself. And it's, whether you realize it or not, it's almost stifling your energy. And I feel like in the next 6 months, if you were to tackle this, and I think you will, regardless of what I'm saying here, like I feel like you're already aware that you want to tackle this, you're going to get your energy back. There's something like getting your spark back with this Pearl and this Ace of Wands. There's something very specific about you getting like your little spark back. A spark that you thought maybe you lost. But it's kind of like there's also energy of like shadow work here. So maybe there's a little bit of shadow work to be done around what persona or what masks you choose to wear around either certain crowds of people or groups of people or just in general. I feel like the next 6 months is a good time to ask yourself, what is the most authentic version of you? Shadow work is definitely coming through here strong now. Especially like the habits, coping mechanisms, or ways of being that you've become attached to. Maybe if you were able to journal something, like I feel like it could be a good idea to journal around, if you sat down and journaled, like, what am I really attached to? And is there any reason that I'm attached to these? And again, it doesn't have to be just bad things. You can literally write down everything that you're attached to. Like, am I attached to not being outgoing? Or am I attached to going out? Am I attached to, like, do I have FOMO, like fear of missing out? I feel like there's wisdom in sitting down and writing down everything that you're attached to currently, and whether it's really needed anymore, or are you attached just because it's a habit of some sort. And also assessing whether it's a habit or a coping mechanism or a way of being that's actually stifling your inner authentic you rather than supporting the authentic you. There's something about like hiding certain versions of yourself or certain parts of yourself away from the world. Is that actually assisting you anymore? Or is it not? Is it actually just stifling you and making you feel worse? And I think you're really going to be trying to balance the shadow and the light. But let's see what else. I pulled some cards. We've got friend in need. And we've also got honor. Like, I feel maybe some of you are actually wanting to be in the spotlight a little bit. Some of you might be wanting to be noticed a little bit more, whether it's in your own job. Like, you could be in a job that maybe isn't even all about like fame or anything like that, but it's more so about standing out and really being seen for the work that you do. Maybe you want to be seen in your community a little bit more, or maybe it's literally on the internet, or, you know, in some sort of like capacity of being able to get recognition or gain recognition. I think it's time to focus on that. It's time to focus on how it's almost like before anyone else gives you recognition, you need to give that recognition to yourself. So are you ready to give yourself recognition? So the next 6 months, focus on the recognition you can give yourself. Maybe some of you want to be recognized by your friendship group. You want to be recognized as a different type of, that's another thing that I feel maybe around you. It doesn't have to be necessarily a friendship group. It can be like a community or a group of people where you want to be seen as, it's like they assigned, again, it's like we get attached to certain things that people assign to us, like certain personas that people assign to us. It's just something that we naturally do as people. We like to categorize people. We like to put ourselves in categories, and I feel like I love astrology and I love like even MBTI, those things I feel like sometimes can be really helpful in figuring out where your passions lie and what you're interested in. But I feel like sometimes if we get too obsessive and we become too stereotypical about those things and don't take them as improvement tools, but take them as rather like category tools for humanity, they become a little bit stifling. For some of you, maybe you are literally like an astrologer, or you've become you've become this astrology fan, or you're really into astrology, where you've assigned certain roles for yourself depending on your astrology like sign or your astrological placements, and maybe you have too much attachment to those ideals where you're not allowing yourself to naturally progress and like have that authenticity. And for some of you, this could be around a friendship group or a group of people that have like assigned a certain role to you, and you are realizing that like that's not me and that's not something that I want to be. But also, if I start acting outside of that assigned role, what is going to happen? There's a little bit of like fear and worry of like, what if I start acting outside of that role that I've been assigned by my friend group or by my family group or just like a community around me? How is that going to be received? And there's a need to look at like, why is that a fear of yours? Why is that something that worries you? You want to be seen. Like, I feel like you want to, there's something about earning respect, but you can't earn respect for a person, because if you earn respect for a person that you're not, you're never going to be happy with the respect that you're getting. That's the energy that I'm getting. It's kind of like the next 6 months is a good time to focus on earning respect for the authentic person. And it's so much easier to, like, in reality, maybe that's something, and I feel like that's something that I don't realize myself sometimes. It's easier to earn respect for exactly who you are rather than to earn respect for a persona or a version of yourself that you want to present to the world. And maybe that's something that you need to focus on in the next 6 months. Focusing on earning respect and admiration and love or care or affection for the true version of you rather than a version of you that maybe other people assign to you. It's almost like you need to exercise this other version of you, this other role that you have been assigned. But I think you're going to be successful, and that's the beautiful thing, because with the Ace of Wands, it almost makes me think like what I'm getting here is almost like a burst of light through kind of like something that's trying to it's like if you had like a lot of like tough cardboard or something, and you couldn't see through it. You make an incision so that the light can come through. It's like you're going to start seeing that being your authentic self is more rewarding. And I think that's something that you should focus on in the next 6 months. So that's the reading. Very interesting reading, I have to say, pile number 1. We're off to a strong start. So if you like this reading, do like, subscribe. If it resonated as well, do leave a comment below. I'd love to hear what you think of it. But I'm going to move on. So I'm going to move on to pile number 2. So pile number 2, let's see what you could focus on in the next 6 months. I have the Oracle cards here, and we're going to progress with the Tarot cards as well. But let's get started. What would be a good thing to focus on for pile number 2? And I love your pile number 2, and we've got 22 here as well. And then we've got library, take control of your own narrative. We've got financial constraints. We've also got flying free. Okay, there's something about freedom here as well. Like, definitely with this marionette that I'm getting here, it's like there's some sort of level or energy of claiming your own freedom. I'm getting, for the next 6 months, what's good to focus on is becoming financially independent. That would be a good thing for you to focus on. Now, again, it's not to say like, oh, in 6 months, you better be completely financially free and independent. But I think the next 6 months, maybe your placements, astrological placements, your transits, or just your energy is vibing very high with becoming financially independent, financially free. Researching how to become financially free, researching maybe like there's a career or a business or some sort of, or maybe even if it's just like a career that you're in, a job that you're in, but you're finding it more difficult to become financially free there. Maybe researching or asking around, asking for help is a good thing. Let me see what else. These cards are to represent what would be a good energy to channel. So we've got angel and child, magical. I like the way these colors are almost identical as well. It's kind of like this purpley pink magenta color. Helping those in need with no expectation of return. Seeing the potential for sacred beauty in all things, the belief that everything is possible. Maybe also maybe you don't believe that you are capable of being financially free. Maybe you're not. You kind of hold a self-limiting belief around financial freedom. Having financial freedom, having financial like, I feel like maybe you were brought up in some sort of lack mentality, or maybe you developed some sort of lack mentality in this lifetime. And it's something about like breaking that down, or maybe you're already doing that and your spirit guides are cheering you on to continue doing it. I feel like some of you are already tackling this financial constraints, financial lack mentality. But I'm really getting that this is a good 6 months to focus on becoming financially independent, financially free. For some of you, maybe like if you were still like living with your parents or anything like that, like and you one like that, or maybe you're like in college or school, it could be a good time for you to look at how you can earn your money, or like earn some sort of living for yourself outside of your parents. Like if it resonates, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be specifically that. But there's something here about believing in your own magic and believing in your own ability to create your narrative. And I feel like for a lot of you, you feel like there's something about, it's almost like if you won the lottery tomorrow, you feel like you could literally do anything in the world. And I don't mean this like, I don't mean that obviously everyone feels like, oh, if I won the lottery tomorrow, I'd just do the most amazing things. But I feel like for you, even if you won a little bit of money, like I'm not even saying millions. Like I feel like for you, you feel like if you had a couple of thousands extra in your pocket tomorrow, you feel like you would be able to do anything. You would be unstoppable almost. But flipping that and realizing that you are still unstoppable without that money. And again, I'm not trying, like I'm a person that worries about money. I'm a person that holds some financial beliefs that are not Gucci. So do keep that in mind. Like I'm not trying to preach to you. I feel like I actually resonate with this pile in a lot of ways as well. So I feel like there's something about you believing in your own ability to create a beautiful life for yourself. So focusing on trying to become financially independent, but not in this obsessive way, like I need to be financially independent, but almost focusing on your financial beliefs, focusing on what can you do to make your life a little bit more magical, even if it's without money. What can make your life a bit more high quality that doesn't involve money? And there are things that you can do. There's just something very magical about you, but at the same time it's like you believe in your own magic, but it's almost every time that you believe in your own magic, it's also like, oh, but it would be way more magical or way more consistent, or I would do a lot better if I had more money. Oh, if only I had more money, I'd be able to do more. And I know that's basically something everyone thinks, I think. if only I had more money, I could do so much more. But rather than focusing on, oh, if only I had more money, I would do so much more, trying to focus on what can I do without that money? And kind of like living it, like, if that money comes, that's great. But I'd like to do something outside of whether I have that money or not. I hope this is making sense. But I'm getting, it's about money, but at the same time, it's not about money. That's what's funny for this pile. In the next 6 months, try and focus on connecting to the most abundant version of yourself. And like, what does that version of you do? What kind of books does that person, like, I'm getting something about reading books here as well. It's really important to consume knowledge through books, audio books. That's something that's coming through. I've been getting that message a lot for my readings lately for some reason. So maybe, it's a collective message in some ways, but I feel very specific people get it. Focusing on reading, focusing on ingesting information through there's a lot of wisdom in reading for you in the next 6 months. So maybe in the next 6 months, focus on reading whether it's even a fictional book, because I feel like even fiction, even things like, it doesn't have to be specifically like a self-help book or a financial advice book. There's just something about you reading and really being consumed by reading material. Like I feel like maybe you used to be a really big reader when you were a child, because this child card you used to find a lot of magic in reading, and now reading almost feels like a chore and feels like too exhausting. Is there a way that you can approach reading in a more positive kind of like open manner? That's what I'm getting. But ingesting material, like don't read things that sometimes it's like, I should really read this book because it's going to help me, but I have like no interest in reading this book. Try with something that even if it's like, like like Twilight comes to mind. It's like reading something that it's like your guilty pleasure, or reading something that's like, even if it's just so stupid, reading a magazine that seems like really stupid, or reading a book that is like even a children's book that you used to love as a child. Like reading something simple and getting into the groove of getting back into the magic of reading words on pages and bringing them to life. And, because I feel like some of you could even be inspired by a fictional book where you read something about like a character or a hero or a heroine that like, heroine, I think that's the right way to pronounce it. But something about reading could really inspire you. It's like you're not aware of it, but if you just get into the groove of magic, because again, there's a lot of magic. I feel like this card is very magical, even though there's like this constraint element to it as well. It's like you're so magical, but you're letting your worries constrain you. But again, it's like, I'm not judging, I'm not preaching. It's something that I feel like I can relate to. So, okay, let's see what else or not what else, but let's clarify these cards. So let's clarify. So first of all, we got 3 of, you're going to be making a lot of progress. That's what I'm getting in the next 6 months. In terms of your finances, I'm seeing you make progress. And it's really important. That's another thing that I'm getting. It's really important to celebrate your progress in your finances and your career in the next 6 months. Maybe set a goal for the next 6 months to really note even the smallest wins in your career for the next 6 months. Even the tiniest of wins. Something tells me that your intuition keeps telling you that you are doing really great and you're on the right path in terms of your career and finance, but you're not listening to it. You're not believing it. There's almost, actually, I feel like there's a duality to you. This is a really interesting pile because it's like, it's so weird because you are so magical. You are so in tune with your intuition. You're so in tune with your own manifestation powers, and yet you almost put it down to a fluke. It's kind of like, one moment you're like, I'm the best manifester ever. I'm the best at creating my own reality. I can't believe like I've created it. You sometimes will even acknowledge how far you've come, and then an hour can pass by and you go, actually, that was just a coincidence. Oh, that was just a coincidence. It's like you're in the flow, and at the same time, simultaneously, you block that flow frequently. There's internal struggle that's happening. I almost feel like there's 2 versions of you. There's 2 sides of you that are kind of like polar opposites. It's like maybe some of you have a real, like, it's almost like you have a mystical, beautiful, like intuitive side to you, but you also have this beautiful, logical, kind of like practical side to you, and both of them are beautiful on their own, but they clash very often. So the next 6 months, maybe it's time to start looking at how you can integrate those 2 sides to you. How you can integrate the side that needs proof and the side that just believes anyway. Proof is also very important. Like, I feel like we forget that, yes, it's great to have like this belief and, believe in your manifestations. It's really important to believe in your manifestations and what you're bringing into your life. But also like proof also has a place in our life. Proof is really important. Like, we, at the end of the day, we do live in a 3D world, and I understand. It's almost like I can relate to this pile so much. That's what I'm trying to say. Maybe you could read books on integrating different versions of yourself. Reading books about archetypes, reading books on, let's see what else we've got. Different approach. See the way we've got a problem and 2 approaches, and that's literally what I'm feeling. And we've got the 22 again. Some of you could be life paths 22, or maybe 22 is a really important number for you. 2222 could be like an angel number that comes up, because we've got angel here as well, or angel number 22. Might be a good idea to look that up. Different approach. You have 2 different approaches to life and to your career. It's like you have two different approaches to your career. It's like you have this person who needs proof and who's very pragmatic and like plans very well, and very logical in the way that they approach their career. And then there's like almost this whimsical, magical, angel-like energy that just believes that your career is meant to flow. And it's like neither of them are wrong or right. They just need to be integrated together. You know what I'm also perspective. You have two different perspectives on your career, and it's time to start looking at your perspectives. It's time to look at those perspectives and try and merge them. How can you merge the two different perspectives on your career? With the different approach as well, this card, if you can see, I'm seeing the problem is in the middle. And I think it's really funny because it's like the two roads are leading into, it's like you're not facing by taking the two different approaches and going two different ways, and sometimes you're pulled towards the logical and pragmatic, sometimes you're pulled towards the more manifestation route and more like kind of like angelic, listening to your spirit guides and looking for messages from your spirit guides, but you're never integrating them. And by doing that, you're completely missing the problem, because if you look at this card, the problem's in the middle. So by taking one route or another, you're never actually facing the problem head on. You're always just kind of only just missing it. But if you were to integrate those two paths together, you'd be able to like go for that problem. It's like those two sides of you are just constantly fighting each other. You are resilient. You're able, you can face this. You can problem solve. I feel like see these two sides of you, they're just not vibing with each other right now. How can you it's almost like I'm getting an imagery of two siblings that are very similar, but they're like two sides of a different coin. And if only they saw their similarities. Maybe you need to find similarities between the pragmatic side of you and the more magical manifesting side of you. And when it comes to your career specifically, that's what I feel. It's kind of like if you were to sit these two siblings down and actually show them the amount of similarities that they have and teach those two sides of you to work together. How can you teach two sides of you to work together? And you'll realize that those two sides of you can actually teach each other a lot. And that's when you're going to start becoming more free. You're going to start becoming more dynamic. Rather than, it's almost like it's making me think of opposite signs in astrology. Like, let's take Virgo and Pisces, for example. When Virgo and Pisces are very different. Pisces, again, I feel like Virgo is very practical, very pragmatic, wants things done in the right way. And Pisces is more go with the flow, more on the magical, more on the spiritual side of things. And they can clash in that because, they don't resonate with those energies with each other. But at the same time, if you were to show the two of them that at the end of the day, they have similar qualities where they both want to help people. They both want to fix problems. They both want to heal. Both Pisces and Virgo are very much about healing. If you were able to highlight that, and I feel like this is a conflict that's happening within you. And each side is trying to control the other, but you need to show that. Maybe you can do that in meditation even. Maybe you need to meditate and literally visualize these two sides, these two opposing. It's kind of like unlikely partners. It's like you have two sides to you that are unlikely partners. And again, it's like this fiction energy here. Like maybe it's like almost a story. It's almost like a story. You have these two sides of you that are unlikely partners, but if you were to bring them together and integrate, they could achieve amazing things. And there's a reason that you have these two sides to you, because you're actually meant to integrate them and create this dynamic energy. I love this. This is beautiful. So this is the reading that I got for you, pile number 2. A really good, if we were to put it simply, a good thing to focus on is on becoming financially free, independent, and releasing some negative beliefs about your finances or some conflicting views about your finances and career. But the more elaborate version of this is what we just talked about. So I hope this reading resonated. If you like this, do like, subscribe, and comment with your feedback. I'd love to hear about this pile specifically. Also because I just really related to this pile. So if you want to give me some insight into how you related to it, it would be great. But I'm going to move on to pile number 3. So pile number 3, let's see what is going on in the next 6 months. What is a good focus for you in the next 6 months? So we've got nostalgia, focus on here and now. That's good. That's cool because we have focus here even in the card. So focusing on the present moment is really important for this pile. We've also got the garden and the gate. We've got hearing messages from spirit. And savoring the present moment is going to be really important in the next 6 months for you, pile number 3. And again, really cool because we had pile number 2 and number 22 kept coming up, and we've got pile number 3, and we've got card number 33, and we've got card 30, which adds up to 3, which is really interesting. I love when that happens. So definitely very specific message right off the bat, right in my face, is you need to focus on savoring your present moments in the next 6 months. Focus on, this could be quite literally like when you are going to meet a friend, or like, you're going somewhere with another person, or if it's just you by yourself. Focus on the present moment. Focus on the feeling of the present moment, on the feeling, if you're going out for a meal, focus on the taste of the food. If you're going for coffee, focus on the taste of the coffee. How does it make you feel? The warmth of, or the coldness, like, whatever it is. Taking a bath. Self-care is going to be really important, but I'm hearing there's no point in having self-care if you're not going to sit with that self-care. There's no point in having a relaxing bath if you're having a bath and at the same time you're thinking about your taxes or something like that. There's no point in going for a really beautiful walk if you are thinking about what your partner said that morning or something like that. It's really important to focus on the present moment. And the same way, it's like if you're sitting down to resolve an issue with a partner or a friend, or you're trying to have a conversation with somebody, it's going to be really important to really be present in that conversation. With the hearing messages from spirit, I feel like the more you focus on the present moment, especially when you're having conversations with people, I feel like you're going to be receiving messages from the universe and from spirit through regular conversations with people. And that's why your spirit guides are really wanting you to connect to the present moment. Don't be on your phone during conversation. Don't really, really focus on the person in front of you, and what they're saying, how they're talking to you, their tone of voice, maybe even there's the littlest things can send you information. I'm really getting a very strong message that your spirit guides are going to be communicating with you. Like, the more you sit with the present moment, the more you experience the little things for the next 6 months. It's going to be super, super important. I think you're going to get a lot of really profound messages. Let's see what energy is good to channel as well. So we've got monk or noon, oh my god, monk or nun, selfless devotion and single-minded dedication to spirit. Again, this makes me think of like meditation or prayer, like really being present. Meditation could be really important in the next 6 months. So if you want to start a routine where you meditate even for 5 minutes every morning, I think it's going to be really, really rewarding for you. What else? We've got child eternal, determination to remain young in body, mind, and spirit, ability to see things with fresh eyes. Almost having this sense of wonder. The way babies, when they hear a new sound or they get to taste a new food, there's almost an amazement, this kind of amazing energy that they experience. You can see they're so amazed by what they're getting to experience right now. If they get I saw a video recently of the baby experiencing an echo for the first time, and how the baby's mind was absolutely blown that there was an echo. That kind of energy, that's what I'm getting, almost getting to the basics. And if you're going to have a bath or something, or having this relaxing night where you're staying at home and you're having a bath and you're enjoying this experience, really focusing on how the water feels on you, how the bubbles feel, maybe literally blowing bubbles, or having these bubbles in a bath, how exciting and fun that is. Enjoying all the scents if you have a scented candle. Also, there's a lot of floral energy here. Like I'm getting a lot of floral energy. So maybe gardening is something that could really get you. Maybe because I know I've heard this about people that do gardening almost see it as like a meditation practice. There's almost like a meditative. Oh my god, I can't say it. Meditative. Oh, I can't say it. Okay, meditation state, whatever. Your meditation state, you're going into almost like this meditation state when you garden. For a lot of you, for some reason that's coming through, because like we've got flowers here, we've got plants here, flowers, like literally we have a garden, flowers all around here, and there's some flowery energy here. Maybe floral scents can be really relaxing for you in the next while as well. You're getting some specific messages, because it's not about like a grand idea or a message for you, pile 3. It's about literally staying in the moment for the next 6 months. And gardening for some reason is coming through. So maybe some of you even have plans of gardening, or, you know, becoming a little bit more of a green thumb. Also, for some reason, I'm getting like, you know, the way we had this communication energy, like really focus on what you're saying and what you're like, what the person that is talking to you is saying. For some of you, maybe writing letters to like a friend abroad. Like if you have a friend abroad or something like that, if you have a friend that you're like separated by COVID with, or even if it's not COVID related, like if it's somebody who's abroad, how about instead of like, and again, not that instead of FaceTime, you can do that as well, and like texting or whatever. How about you write letters to this person? And there's mindfulness is basically what I'm getting for you, I think, pile number 3. Mindfulness, like really setting time aside to write a letter to a friend who lives abroad. Sitting down and having a coffee with a friend and really listening to what they have to say. Really spending quality time. I'm hearing 1-to-1 quality time is really important as well, in the next 6 months. Let's clarify these a little bit more with our tarot. But I'm really getting a strong mindfulness message. I feel like you are about to go into a space of your mental health doing really well, and it's almost like your spirit guides are calling on you to enhance it with this mindfulness. I really like this energy. Pile 3. You know what? I'm really getting staying in the moment. I'm almost struggling to see any other messages. The World card in reverse. There's like, I'm almost getting like, you know, easing off the reins. Like I almost get like that your hands have been pulling the rope so tight towards some sort of goal, or you've been dreaming of something and you've been really, I feel like in the next 6 months you're going to be like loosening your grip and just seeing where the horse carriage takes you. And while it takes you there, you are enjoying the journey and you're really focusing on the present rather than the future. Like with the 5 of Cups being here in reverse, I feel like you're finally not looking at the past or the future. You're not looking at the cups that are spilled. You're going to be looking at the two of the cups that are already there. I'm really seeing for some of you there's going to be a really important interpersonal relationship that's going to be, like, I feel for some of you this could literally be your relationship with your partner. The next 6 months you should focus on, maybe this is like an exercise that both of you need to do, where you are focusing on each other when you are together. Like you're maybe like having a time where there's no phones, or maybe if there's a friend who you've been feeling like maybe they're becoming more distant, like having a time where you go for a coffee and you both agree no phones allowed. Like no phones, you're just present with each other. And even if it's just for half an hour once a week or an hour once a week, there's something about, maybe some of you might even be going off social media, maybe for the next 6 months, maybe not even for the whole of 6 months, but maybe for the start of the 6 months, the first 2 or 3 months, it could be a good idea to delete social media or deactivate your social media and focus on, there's a real like focus on touch and senses, sensing the world around you in a more mindful way. And I feel like you're really improving your interpersonal relationships. Like with this 10 of Cups right in the middle of your reading, I feel like you're really connecting to, like truly connecting to friends. You're wanting to be present. You're wanting to be there. You're wanting the full experience of the person who you're talking to. Important person. Oh my God. Oh my God. I think there's someone in your life that maybe you are deciding to connect to a lot more. Oh, I can't believe that came out. I can't believe that came out. Maybe it's somebody that you've been feeling like you've been growing cold with, or they've been growing cold with you, or there's just been like this unexplainable distance between you and this person. You are communicating that with the person and you're becoming present with each other. You're wanting to be present. See the way we've got two people here. We've got two people here, two people here. The important person. We've got the 10 of Cups. Like I really feel for some of you, this could be multiple one-to-one relationships. Like you're really wanting to focus on your one-to-one relationships. Maybe even in terms of like if you have a group of friends or a group that you hang out with, you're wanting to spend more one-to-one time with the individuals in that group. Or you're wanting to reach out to somebody that, for some of you, you might even get a call or a text, or like somebody's going to ask you, like somebody who you've not seen in a while. And I'm not necessarily getting that you had a falling out with this person. For some of you, maybe, but this person really wants to reconnect with you. And I feel like a good thing to focus on is on setting a boundary that if you are reconnecting, you have to reconnect in a very mindful way. For some of you, this could be even like a mother or a father or, you know, a sibling. We've also got blessed mess. Blessed mess always makes me think of like something that doesn't make sense, but you just know that it's important. So maybe all these experiences of like being really present and you don't really know why you have to do them, but it just because it feels good, just because it makes sense. Sometimes things don't need an explanation. So maybe for the next 6 months, focus on things that feel good in the present moment, and you don't necessarily need to attach meaning or purpose to them. That's what I'm getting here. I think that's it. I think that's all I'm getting for this group. But I feel like mindfulness in general, whether it's just you yourself, but I also feel for a lot of you, there's going to be a more mindful approach to how you interact with maybe your partner, or even with a very special friend or somebody you're literally trying to reconcile with. It's going to be really important. It's going to be really beautiful. So the next 6 months, focus on that special person. That special person could even just be you, but really focus on mindfulness and being present in the moment. So that is the reading that I got for this pile. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, do like, subscribe, and comment with your feedback. I love hearing feedback on how these messages resonate. So I'm going to move on. So we're going to move on to pile number 4. So let's see, pile number 4. What should you focus on in the next 6 months? What could you focus on? What would be a good idea? We've got wings. You never needed those wings to fly. We've also got 8 and 9 consecutive cards. Phoenix, how's that for happily ever after? We've also got the Temple Path. Very freeing energy. I think this is like not even what you should focus on, what you're going to be focusing on. I think you're already aware of the focus you're wanting to take. We've got proceeding softly. My inner power grows in moments of quietude. So there's something like quiet power. Quiet power. Being powerful without needing to prove it. Being powerful without needing people to say it back to you. And being really like confident in your own powers. Without needing, I think a good thing to focus on, and I think this is not even what's good to focus on, I think this is something you're going to be focusing on. You're going to be focusing on not needing validation and not needing other people to tell you you're doing a good job, not needing people to tell you that you are in a good place, just knowing it, outright knowing it for yourself. But let's see what's a good energy to channel. Gambler. Willingness to follow intuition even when others doubt you. That's the thing. It's like not needing validation for what you're about to do. Even if other people don't see how you're progressing, even if other people don't see that you are actually on the right path, continue on that right path because you know yourself. I'm just being attracted to this book. What is Once Upon a Time? And we've got this temple path. There's you're like on a hero's journey in the next 6 months. And we've got athlete, dedication to transcending physical limits, including development of personal willpower and strength of spirit. Willpower, having will. You know what? This is something about channeling your own willpower without needing other people's validation or other people's agreement that you're doing the right thing. Following that intuition, not needing proof that you're on the right path. For some of you, this could literally be with the athlete here. Maybe you are starting like literally like a new maybe you're starting to play a new sport or something like that. Maybe you decided to take up a new maybe some of you want to take up a new sport to play, and it's something that maybe you're not great at it, but it's something that that's right for you. For others, it's not quite so literal. I feel like you are realizing a path that you're meant to be on, and you're following that intuitively without needing proof, because there's something about you getting proof within yourself. You're on a hero's journey in the next 6 months, and a good focus for you is that hero's journey. Not being distracted. I really feel like a lot of you are not going to be distracted by the outside forces in the next 6 months. A good thing for you to focus on is literally yourself and what you want to do. And see the way in all these cards, like I just really want to point this out, the arms are spread out. Like this one's kind of like in the front, but still spread out. There's something about look at the open body language. Like you're not trying to hide who you are, but you're also, when people don't agree with who you are, you're like, okay, whatever. And you're just continuing on. Like, look how open the body language is. There's something about receiving blessings without like feeling guilty about it. A good thing to focus on is to allow yourself to take whatever comes to you without any guilt. I think there's going to be subtle blessings coming in over the next 6 months that maybe in the past you would have, like with the gambler card, I'm almost getting like lucky breaks or opportunities that are almost feel like gambling. They don't feel like, they're not planned. That's what I mean. It's not in a bad way. Like I feel like these things that are not planned, maybe in the past you would have doubted them. In the next 6 months, not doubting yourself is really a good thing to focus on. How can you reduce self-doubt? Because the way, like I definitely had this feeling when I know I'm right and I know I'm on the right path and I know I'm doing the right thing, and yet I still question it. But then there's like a voice in the back of my head. It's like, you're right. You're right. You're doing the right thing. Like, why are you even questioning yourself when you know? You're on a hero's journey. There's almost like, I don't know why, but I'm getting almost like Alice in Wonderland vibes from this pile. Like the journey is very confusing, like Alice in Wonderland is like a lot of really weird things and a lot of really kind of like eccentric characters. And it's like the next 6 months, no matter how weird the opportunities that come to you are, don't reject them. That is your path. I feel like you might have, and I don't mean weird in a bad way, I mean like eccentric or unusual to what you usually are used to. There might be a little bit of a weird journey for you in the next 6 months, something that you're not used to, something that is completely out of the ordinary for you. But that's the thing with the wings, like you never needed those wings to fly. You don't need the support that you used to need. Maybe like the wings that you used to have would be your own mind, kind of like because fear serves a purpose, right? We have fear because it serves a purpose. It helps us from doing stupid things sometimes. But I feel like you're able to distinguish between what's stupid and what's literally like taking like what is it called? And not an educated risk. It's a calculated risk. I feel like calculated risks are a good thing for you in the next 6 months. And you know that about yourself. You know that there's a trust not to do anything stupid, because you're not doing it out of impulse. You're doing it from an intuitive space. Okay, let's see. We're going to pull some tarot cards for this energy. Okay, wow, we've got the Tower in reverse. And we've got like this Tower here. So something about this is like you are creating your own tower moment, but it's not a bad tower moment. It's like I'm getting, because see the way this tower is actually all intact and the tower is in reverse. I'm getting that rather than waiting for the universe, it's kind of like you know the path that you're meant to be going on, and rather than waiting for the universe to give you a tower moment and to like destroy a certain belief or a certain, you know, the way like if a tower moment happens, if something chaotic happens in your life, it's usually for the best. It's usually to kind of like shake you up and get you into a different perspective. You are forcing that different perspective on yourself. Again, there's like this proceeding softly, like I don't want a tower moment, so I'm going to create my own tower moment that is softer and more relaxed, and I'm in control. Like you are very aware that you're in control of what you're doing. Nine of Cups in the middle of your reading. Manifesting. Like manifestation's very strong with this pile. That's definitely something that I'm seeing. You're literally just you're on the right track in the next 6 months, and it's a good thing to focus on. Some of you are already on this path. Like some of you are already on this hero's journey, and it's the right thing to focus on. You've been focusing on the right thing. You've been doing the right thing. Like you're doing everything right, pile 4. I only like no notes, no comments, no notes. You're doing the right thing. You're already on the right track. Maybe you just needed this confirmation. I feel like rather than all the other piles, like I haven't done pile 5 yet, but I feel like definitely what's different about you, pile 4, to the other 3 piles is that you have confirmed that you're on the right path to yourself already, but maybe you just needed another synchronicity or another message to confirm it. And that's maybe this is serving just like as a confirmation. Some of you don't even need any advice. You just needed like, it's like, I know I'm on the right path, but it sure would be great to get another confirmation that I'm on the right path. And you are. You're on the right path to manifesting something that you really, really want. And I feel like it's different for all of you. Like I'm not going to say whether it's career or a way of living or a person, but it's not even about that. It's about manifesting the version of you that has that career, that person, that way of living. And it's almost like you've learned how to manifest powerfully but calmly, and without like, you know, I feel like a lot of people manifest with almost just like, and it's like it's the wrong way to manifest, obviously, and I'm not even calling anybody out because I tend to do that, where sometimes you panic and you go, am I manifesting in the right way? Should I be doing something else? And it's like, no, you know you're doing the right, you're on the right track. You know you're on the right track. You're open to receiving blessings with this open body language here, and there's something about gratitude as well. So the next 6 months, a good thing to do is to practice gratitude for where you are, and practicing gratitude even to yourself, where you have gotten yourself, where you got yourself, is really important. Transformation is coming through. Like I feel like the worst, or not the worst, but like most difficult part of your transformation is already kind of behind you. So I feel like the next 6 months is more about, again, like I feel like you already trust yourself. I feel like you already know like you're on the right. It's about polishing that. It's about polishing that. It's about realizing that genuinely the worst is behind you, pile number 4. If you feel like maybe this pile has gone through a lot of crap in their life, and you're kind of like, well, what's the next catch? What's the next thing that's going to like throw me off? I feel like your spirit guides really want you to know that you've passed all the tests. Like there's almost this thing of like, you passed all the tests. And now it's time to proceed softly. There's no more tower moments. There's no more, because we've got the tower here. We've got this tower energy here. We've got the phoenix. Like, you've done all your phoenix work. You've done, like, that energy of like phoenix rising out of the ashes. You've done all your tower energy work. That's all behind you now. So in this next 6 months, enjoy the post tower progression and build up. You've done your tower moments for the foreseeable future. So enjoy. Your life is meant to be a lot more calm than what you're used to, pile number 4. So really, really, I think you do appreciate it, but I think you're always kind of waiting for the next catch because it's something you're used to. So no more tower moments for you, pile 4. You've done them all. So that's the reading that I got for you, pile number 4. That was really interesting. I hope it resonated. If you did like it, sorry, I need to calm down. Whew. I feel like there's something, maybe you're a little bit on edge because you do expect tower moments. So maybe try, actually I never pulled, I know I'm already shuffling your tarot, but I never pulled one of these cards. Reader research. Maybe you didn't need them, that's why. Boundaries. I'm not resonating with these cards, so I feel like you didn't need those cards. There's a reason, because I did it for every other pile, but it's because you genuinely don't, you just need the confirmation that the tower energy and the tower moments are done for now, for the foreseeable future. Like, I feel like for years, you could say. So don't worry about it so much. This feels more like a confirmation than what you should focus on. So really enjoy the next 6 months. I feel like you've earned it. So let's move on to pile number 5. So pile number 5, let's see what is going on. What should you focus on in the next 6 months? So we've got feather. Think first before you judge. We've also got journey. We've got man holding a coin. We've got renewing your life. Radiant vitality is filling my life. And then I have 2 cards for what to channel. What's a good energy to channel in the next 6 months? Detective. Great powers of observation and intuition. Desire to seek out the truth. And we've got poet. Express soul insights in symbolic language. There's a little bit of everything in this pile. That's what's interesting to me. There's a little bit of everything. But I'm trying to get a common theme because I'm definitely seeing a career progression that you could focus on. But also decluttering is really coming through as like decluttering. Maybe you have a lot of goals for your career. Maybe you have a lot of goals for where you want to see yourself in life. And all these goals are kind of overwhelming you. And I feel like your spirit guides are asking you to focus on just one goal, like one goal at a time. For some of you, I feel like it's almost like you are a very eclectic group. And for some of you, I literally feel like you could be eclectic, like in terms of your spiritual practice, your spiritual, whether it's like what you do, any type of witchcraft, or if you are just like spiritually, you're taking from a lot of different cultures, a lot of different backgrounds. I'm just really getting a strong feeling here that one thing at a time in the next 6 months. Focus on one thing at a time. Don't overburden yourself with too many energies, with too many tasks. And really focus on one. With the detective card, I feel like maybe you are someone who's used to operating with many skills, many goals, many ways of doing things at once. I feel like you're being asked to just pick one. Don't overburden yourself. That is a message that I'm picking up on here. Don't overburden yourself right now. I want to pull, this is a bit of a confusing pile. Let me just, I'm not going to lie, I'm getting a little bit confused. But look, we've got the King of Pentacles, something to do with your career, I feel. Are you overburdening yourself in your career currently? Are you expecting too much from yourself? Because with the Judge card, think before you judge. I'm getting a strong energy of like, realize how far you've come before you judge yourself. Because this is a journey. I feel like it's talking about a journey of your career. And maybe you are constantly trying to achieve multiple things at once. That your spirit guides are like, focus on what you have achieved and applaud yourself for that. Maybe you have so many goals that every time you achieve that goal, you're like, okay, what's my next goal? You're not stopping to go, okay, I actually achieved a goal here. I actually did something. I'm actually successful. Believing in your own success. I feel like you're very unfair to yourself, honestly. That's something that I'm getting, pile number 5. I feel like you're super unfair to yourself. I just keep getting like slowly, like chill. Daddy, chill. That's what I'm getting for this pile. I don't know why this pile is making me laugh, because I feel like maybe you take your career a little bit too seriously. And again, there's nothing wrong with taking your career seriously. Again, with this Emperor card, the Emperor in reverse, I almost get this energy. Maybe you're not like this all the time, but there's like, I feel like that daddy chill just keeps coming up in my mind. Like, what the hell is even that? I feel like you're on a journey and you're doing really well and you're achieving a lot. You actually are very successful, but you are so judgmental of yourself because you have so many goals. Like, there's so much you want to achieve in this lifetime, and I think you will get to achieve it, but it's kind of like, I think you look at the big picture, and when you look at the big picture, you're like, okay, I need to achieve like this big goal. You know, whatever. And I feel like this is a career related. It definitely feels like a career related reading for me. I need to achieve this big goal. I need to get here in my career. And your spirit guides are like, yes, okay, that's fine. That's cool. Totally get you, totally feel you. I understand you want to get to this point in your life, to this goal. But you are also getting all these mini goals, and I'm getting like these candles for me for some reason are representing all these mini goals that you have, and it's like ultimately you want to achieve some sort of like big goal in terms of something grand, some sort of big situation that you want to happen in your life. But your spirit guides are like, you need to focus on the small achievements, focus on the small wins in your life the next 6 months. I feel like maybe you're almost too big picture. Like you're focused on the big picture, and that's great, and it's a really good thing to see things from a kind of above perspective. But what about the little details? What about, whether it is like to do with your follower count or subscriber count on, like, if you have a channel, it's like, what about the 10 people that subscribe to you? Like, that is a win. That's 10 people that loved seeing your content and loved what you have to say. What about if you earned more money? Like, let's say you run an Etsy shop or whatever type of like revenue that you get. What about the 20 extra, dollars, euro, whatever it is that you got last week? Like, that is still a win. And there's something about counting the small wins. Maybe you should journal. There's something here coming through about journaling and writing down every little win that you get, and really starting to realize the step-by-step wins that you're gathering. Like, collect these wins, and before you know it, you're gonna see how they are turning into a big win, because you're kind of like passing all these wins and you're not realizing that these wins are happening. And decluttering this idea, like, maybe you have so many goals, maybe you just need to set yourself a goal a month. And if you don't achieve a goal in 1 month, like that you wanted to really achieve, also see that as okay, and that's something that happens also. Like, sometimes you don't win. Sometimes you don't win when you wanted to win because it's not the time to win. So declutter the idea of like, I need to achieve like 3 or 4 goals, and they have to be these specific goals. Like, I feel like you need to ease up on, I feel like you're your own worst critic, and I think your spirit guides really want you to focus on challenging that critic within you, you know you are coming off as someone who is very judgmental of yourself. And again, it's not like I'm not being, and look, we've got 2 light bulbs. Okay, I'll get into that in a second, but I feel like it's not to be like, I'm not trying to like call you out or anything like that. We can all be mean to ourselves, but it's almost like you're your own worst critic. You're your own you're always trying to achieve a new goal and problem solve again and again and again and again, that you don't step back to show yourself that, like, some of you could even be kind of like geniuses, but like, because with the detective here, for some reason I'm getting like Sherlock Holmes. You are very aware of everything that's going on at once. You take in information really, really well. Like, you would take in information on this massive level, and the way that you take in information, you almost expect to achieve as much as you perceive. Maybe you're able to perceive a lot. Like, maybe you look at a person and someone that you maybe really admire, and you see so many achievements that they have gathered. You see how much they achieved in their own life, and you're expecting that on yourself, but you are not reflecting back on that you're maybe noticing achievements in them that they in turn don't notice in themselves. It's like you notice everyone else's achievements but yours. And it's really interesting because there's that energy of like, you are like a sponge for information. That's what I'm like, you absorb information. And sometimes it's almost like a burden. So maybe decluttering, maybe meditation, or taking it, like, just taking it slow with this Knight of Pentacles here. Like, just taking it slow with how you take in information. Maybe sometimes you even need to stop yourself and go, oh, like, maybe for some of you, this could be social media. So for some of you, you're really comparing yourself to people on social media, or comparing yourself to other people in your field of work. Specifically, career is coming through. And you feel like you're not coming along as far as these other people are, and it's bothering you. But with the 2 light bulbs here, I feel like you have such amazing ideas, but these ideas almost overburden you sometimes, and it becomes too much and it becomes exhausting. Take it one idea at a time. Take it one goal at a time. Your problem is almost that you're too creative. And again, like, not to say you're too creative or you're too smart or you have too many, you genuinely have so many ideas that they sometimes overburden you, that they sometimes just put so much on you. And you have this expectation of achieving all of your ideas at once. Maybe if you have a certain idea, maybe write down all of your ideas, all the ideas that you have, try and write them down and distinguish which one you want to pursue. There's definitely that energy of like, just pick one thing at a time and really focus on that, and almost like write it down in your journal and leave it and just take one idea. I think you're trying to do too much right now, Pal 5, and I feel like it's amazing that you honestly, the capacity that you seem to have for taking in information, remembering things, putting things out into the world. Your brain is always active, and maybe there's a need to focus on, like, I'm even seeing with this girl, see the way they're all kind of like holding her up, and maybe you need to call in your spirit guides or something to help you quiet your mind sometimes, because your mind is overactive right now. For some of you, maybe writing poetry or writing creatively could really be a good outlet for you right now, for the next 6 months. But taking it slow, you're on the right track in your career. If any of you are worried about your career right now, and I do feel like pretty much 100% of you are worried about your career. Now, if it doesn't resonate, maybe that message is just not for you. But I feel like you're on the right track. You're doing everything correct, but you're trying to do too much, and you just need to scale it back. There's almost this superhuman, a need to be superhuman. You want to be superhuman, but at the end of the day, even though you are very smart and you're able to ingest information really well, and you're able to come up with a lot of creative ideas, and it's like quantity, you're having this quantity of information coming in and quantity of ideas coming out, but that quantity doesn't really lead to anything when you're not able to zone in on, like, you're not a person that likes to zone in on the details. It's kind of like you always expect yourself it's kind of like if you were to go and bake a cake, but not to look at the recipe and not to look at the individual ingredients that are needed and expect to have a full cake. You know, it's kind of like you're trying to bake a cake in your career, and you're not taking the time to step and look at each of the ingredients and give that care and time to measure out the ingredients and to see how, like, you know, measure how long do you need to have the cake in. It's like, you need to slow down with this Knight of Pentacles. You need to slow down and, like, just take your time. Like, daddy, chill. Daddy, chill. But again, I'm not like... I relate to this, honestly. I relate to this need to, like, just slow down. Yeah, like, a lack of patience is coming through here. But again, I'm not preaching. I genuinely have the worst patience in the world. I feel like you really struggle with your patience. Maybe patience is something that you need to focus on. Maybe having that patient energy is something that is important right now. Focusing on being patient and trying not to don't try to have everything done at once in the next 6 months. And the more you take things step by step, and the more you take things in fragments rather than trying to take on the whole thing. Like, if there's a project that you're trying to do in work, just start with a little simple task. If there is a business that you're trying to start up, just do some, like, if you, and it's 333 as I'm doing this reading right now, it's 333, so maybe that will resonate. 333 angel number, maybe look that up. But to me, I think 333 kind of means you're on the right path and you're doing everything correctly. But I feel like the advice here is just to step back a little bit sometimes, and just to, like, you don't have to do big tasks, you don't have to take big strides. Things can be done in small little steps. Baby steps is what I'm getting. Baby steps are also valid steps, and it's okay. And especially even like taking rest is going to be really important the next 6 months, and just decluttering your mind. Like, I feel like you are someone who just has a lot going on in your head and a lot going on in terms of what you expect of yourself. Maybe you need to lower expectations on yourself sometimes. That's what I'm getting as well. Like, maybe your expectations on who you are meant to be and what you're meant to achieve are too grand. And it's not to say that you're not capable of the things. Like it's not that you're not capable of achieving those things. It's just like right now, maybe you just need to have lower expectations for yourself. Are you too harsh on yourself? I think that's what your spirit guide's wanting you to focus on in the next 6 months. Focus on smaller goals, but these smaller goals lead to bigger goals. Don't overwhelm yourself. It's like your spirit guides want you to be this Knight of Pentacles rather than this impulsive Knight of Wands in reverse. It's better to be someone who does small steps mindfully and deliberately than being someone who does things impulsively and doesn't really know if they're doing the right thing and not really sure, but they just want to get there. And I'm not like trying to call you out or anything. Again, as I said, I feel like I'm really relating to this pile right now. So it's really just about enjoying the small wins and enjoying the small goals that you achieve, because they're also valid. And if anything, they can be even, they can be even more valid because they're the small goals will help you see your bigger goals, because it's almost like no goal that you achieve is ever big enough for you. So you need to force yourself to see your small achievements too. Yeah. But I feel like, you're going to be fine. You're on the right track. That's the funniest thing to me. It's like we've got this man holding a coin in the journey. I feel like if you're worried about your career, you're absolutely on the right track. Let go of control over like wanting to get to that big goal. But that's the reading that I got. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, do like, subscribe, and comment with your feedback. I love hearing feedback and seeing how you're related to the reading. But I'm going to see you in my next video, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.